was a factor from what the quotes I read. I mean,
a lot of people think the women may have rallied around him. I mean, they do too much analysis of this stuff sometimes. But the bottom line is it's now a wide open race. You know, if Obama thought he was going to move away from her last night, he didn't. He took it on the chin, which was his first defeat that he's taken. So he was supposedly thought he could run off and hide after his win in Iowa, and it didn't happen. He got his win last night. She got her win last night, and then McCain, as expected, got his win last night. But, you know, McCain, it's hard to see him going the long haul here. But
it was fueling his tank, at least.
Well,
and I don't know, who is going to. I mean, Milt Romney can't do anything, for goodness' sake.
He's in big trouble. Romney's in big trouble. I don't know. And
Giuliani's not winning either.
Hasn't even stepped in yet. I don't even know where right now the Republican is so wide open, it's hard to even fathom what's going to happen here. I don't think anyone. I don't think anyone has a grasp on what's going to happen to Republicans right now.
It's almost.
You even could have a guy who hasn't even shown his face yet be involved in the Republicans.
It's almost like I haven't followed the
Democrats, one or the other.
Yeah, I mean, you know what it comes down to? It's almost like it's the Colts and Pats between Obama and Clinton. Who wins that's going to win a Super Bowl. I mean, you almost get the idea that the winner of that is going to be the president. Well, I mean, that's the feeling I'm getting from watching all the.
It's going to be difficult. It's going to be hard for a Republican to win the White House this year.
Very hard. There's too much. There's too much resentment there.
It's going to be very difficult for that to happen. I think that's going to be a very hard thing to happen.
Plus, there's no great candidate.
You're going to have to run a great race, and you're going to have things break pretty right for you here the next couple of weeks. Is what are you going to say about Iraq? And you're going to have to hope the economy goes your way. And plus, people usually after 8 years want change. They want to move in a different direction. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. Now, remember, you are asking the country to really step out and go in a very different direction than it's ever gone before. You're either going to ask them to vote for a black man or you're going to ask them to vote for a woman. They've never done either. So, you know, how much that plays into it makes it a fascinating and very historical race. I mean, you're going to read about this race in your history books for the next 50 years. Because something very different is going to happen here in America here, quite possibly. And you're going to ask a lot of America to go in that booth and do something very different. Now, a lot of people thought we'd never see a woman in our lifetime. We thought we'd never see a black man in our lifetime be the president. So it's going to be a very interesting year. I mean, clearly, both are serious candidates who have a tremendous chance of winning. Their battle looks like it will go a long way and not be decided for a long time. They seem to be on very equal ground right now. Edwards is, he can stay around for a while. He's got no
shot.
And I think Richardson is most likely got a very good chance to be either's, especially his. But I think even her. I mean, he would be a very good vice presidential candidate.
And for what it's worth, my parents out in New Mexico think he's a lousy governor.
Yeah, so I know, but he's got foreign.
Take it there.
He's Hispanic and he's got foreign policy experience, so he could be a good back of the ticket guy, I think, especially for Obama. And we'll see where they go from there. But it'll be interesting to see. Now, I don't see them coupling up. I don't see that you have those two run together. I think by the time they're finished,
they want the big prize.
Animosity between the two of them anyway. So I don't think that will happen. But you're going to ask America to do something very historic here, if that's the case. Now for the Republicans,
there's nobody else. See, you're not giving the American
run here is bizarre.
Well, you don't give the Americans a choice. I mean, if the Republicans can't come up with a halfway decent nominee, well, then you know what? You're going to have to. If you don't want to vote for it, which is crazy, but if you don't want to vote for a black or a woman, you got no choice. Who are you going to vote for? Giuliani's not going to be the nominee. I'm sorry, he's not going to be the nominee. He's getting murdered left and right. He spent all this time in New Hampshire, got 9% of the vote. He's not going to be the nominee.
It's almost like he backed off and wants to wait to get in the race. But, I mean, waiting till when to get in the race?
I guess the Florida primary now is a big deal for him?
I would say late in the month. And, of course, you got, Super Duper Tuesday coming up next month on the 5th of February. So, 22 states that night. So there's a lot to be decided. Now, Michigan is next, but Michigan has had some controversy, so that their delegates are not binding. So you're going to run to see who's where from a popularity standpoint, but they're not binding.
And then South Carolina after that, right?
Nevada involved and South Carolina. So coming up, so the Nevada caucuses. So there's a lot going on right through the end of the month. But I think clearly you have a very, very much head-to-head, toe-to-toe battle between those two. And Hillary put it right back on the map last night.
And by the way,
then the Republicans, like I said, it's so wide open, it's bizarre.
And for both speeches, which I saw last night, Obama was far better. But
He's a much better speaker.
Oh, I mean, I know he's skilled at it. Far, it wasn't even close. If he wanted to be moved by his speech, Obama blew away.
He is a superior.
Well, he's
speaker.
good at it, right?
Yeah, he's a very good speaker.
I don't know if he knows what he's doing, but he can talk.
Well, he doesn't have a lot of experience, but I mean, he's a superior speaker.
On the fan, Mike and Chris, Toyota, this is 66.
Yes, Sunday.
Number two, you don't want Bill Richardson for anyone's vice president. He's a Bilderberger. He's a neocon. Look it up. Do your research. We finally got Ron Paul, a good Republican.
Oh, stop! Let's not listen. We're not listening. Your idea is to get elected. The idea don't get into policy now. You get into the fact that you want a guy from that part of the country who can take the Latino vote. He's Spanish, which helps a lot, you know. So I think that's why you're trying to tap into that a little bit. And he's a very personable guy. That's why.
I don't know anything about it.
He's got foreign policy experience.
I know. Take it for what it's worth. You know, they voted for Barry Goldwater, but my parents, they can't stand a guy. For whatever it's worth. Here is Jimmy Manalapan. Jimmy, what's happening today?